Hello everyone, welcome back to FPL Without Borders. Game week 3 is just around the corner and we've got a lot to discuss. So we have injuries, fixtures, captaincy debates, and some juicy differentials to break down. So whether you're wildcarding or just rolling a transfer, we have a lot of content for you to consume and make your decisions. As always, we'll try to keep it data driven, no fluff, just strategy and insights. And let's dive right in. All right, let's move on to the agenda.
So, as we move, you've been following us now for almost a year, and we have made an effort, like an humble effort, to keep continuing with our data driven insights. Differential picks, I think Eagle's Eye is almost a trademark that we carry. And if you're enjoying our content, please feel free to like, share, and get subscribed or subscribe for the channel. We are a young nascent channel. We have around like close to 40 subscribers. The goal is to have 500 by the end of the year, or the end of the season. You can look at the agenda. This is kind of what we go every week. We deep dive into each of these players and hopefully help you achieve higher ranks. All of us have achieved top 20K at least once, or in Arsalan's case, more than two times. So yeah, we look forward to your support.
Thank you for the plug, Puneet. And yeah, let's get into the agenda. So we'll first look back at game week 2. What are the key learnings? Because there's no point in discussing what to do in game week 3 if we don't learn from the past game weeks. So we'll try to learn from the past game weeks. We'll go through some of the fixtures, fixture ticker, and then some of the Rob T stats, what teams and players you should target, and our Eagle's Eye, which are our differential picks for game week 3. Captaincy decision, I think this is very important for this week as there's no obvious captain. And then we'll walk you through our bus team and our transfer plans. Um, all right. So looking back at game week 2, we saw some standout names and then a couple of key points and stats to sort of understand. How about Puneet? How about you walk me through
Yeah,
this?
like I think everyone when they started and everyone who starts the campaign starts looking at data, starts looking at trends in terms of how players are doing, who is starting, who is not. Uh, I think a few of these are what we look to capture again in this section is to have an analysis of what you've learned till now, and this is a great insight into you never lose what's happening while you make your next moves. Number one is starting with the latest game, which was Liverpool. Um, they did win, and even Jamie Carragher called out that the best team did not win, and that was Newcastle. The reason for that was they only created 0.66 xg, and the goal that won them the game was 0.61. So the entire Newcastle were beyond good yesterday, like they were excellent, but also um, Liverpool looked like they weren't that robust or connected with each other. So everyone is on at least two assets from whoever at least in the round I speak to. So something to consider if you want to go two. Also, another consideration is, and we are going to discuss about words later, is about should you have Ekitike or Salah or who to take from those. The next is Villa being bottom three for XG. People have gone in for their fixtures with Watkins and Rogers, and the case of, I mean, trusting fixtures and they've just been poor. Like you cannot unfortunately say that they've not deserved the results they've gotten. So again, do you want to from Villa, considering they were never good goal scorers, especially and Rogers is playing on the right, so people who have Rogers are considering including you. Chelsea definitely, West Ham are a team to target. It looks like from the first two game weeks, highest XG. Haaland is number one on X points per 90, and that is totally understandable because the chances he's getting, and in fact, even in the first game, he just scored
Yeah.
those chances. So,
One quick correction. So this is not per 90. So I was just doing some data slices. It's
okay,
Haaland is number one in expected points per million.
per
So
million. Okay, yeah,
obviously the whole debate is Haaland worth it? Is Haaland worth it? So at least till now in the game weeks in the small sample size we have, Haaland is number one in terms of points per
yeah. Considering
million.
he's
It's just a random
14,
stat for you to sort of. It's just food for thought.
Absolutely. No, it's not. I mean, it is a very helpful stat because if you are considering between him and Salah even now, people have gone into Salah and Haaland, so that's a definite consideration. The moment City's form improves even slightly, because if between Reinders, Haaland, there is no like Haaland is a higher value, not higher value, but higher costlier asset, and people are now undecisive on Palmer, Saka, Wirtz. So there is some money floating around which can be thought about, right? And the DEFCON, which is I think one of the retros which Arslan and Ahsan had discussed last week as well. I think DEFCON is everyone's keeping an eye on. Um, Bruno missed a penalty, so massive uh, flag there, but he still got DEFCON. So in
If he had
case
hit the penalty plus DEFCON, he would be
100%,
9, 10, 11 pointer pretty
easily,
easily.
easily, 100%. So that's like a yeah, really big call out. Yeah,
A couple of
that's
data slices I was looking at Puneet yesterday, and I'll just share with the listeners as well. So some basic analysis, because obviously this is a new season. I think we should start looking at things from a basic point of view first, and then we can go into like deeper analysis. But top 10 players by expected points. Why I'm looking at expected points and not points is because obviously uh,
it's
like
too early. Yeah.
too early. Califury, for example, has 26 points. That's not sustainable. He could have, yeah. Anyways, you get the point. But in terms of top 10 players by expected points, you see Haaland, Semenyo, Califury, Anthony from Burnley, O'Reilly, Ekitike, Enzo, and Wood. So the key observation for me was number one, none of these players I think are very highly owned, right? Haaland is not highly owned. Semenyo, like none of them are, to be honest. Maybe Bruno might have the highest ownership, to be honest. And
Yeah.
in terms of minutes as well, apart from Welbeck, all of them and Calafiori, all of them have decent minutes, to be honest. So what do you when you see this stat, like what comes to your mind? What's your first thought?
I mean, great first analysis. I believe like Haaland and Semenyo. Firstly, you said right part, which is the ownership. I don't think Haaland, Semenyo, Anthony, Ekitike, like these names I don't see in most names. And I mean, Haaland's X points to me, if the moment Cities improves, I think it's sustainable as well. Like I think he will score double digit very soon, considering he's already had a price raise. So
And
um,
these expected points are with the Spurs game as
including
well.
yeah,
So
exactly right. So where they actually couldn't score. So that's I would look into him now. Consider if Palmer's news is coming in. So
mm,
you think of it, right? I think Semenyo is 7.2 and Haaland is 14.1. If you have Palmer and Watkins, that's close to 10 plus 9, which is 19, or like 10.5 plus 9. So that's roughly close to 20. That's 21 from that is into Haaland. So
yeah.
if you can pull out another million somewhere, that's
And you
your.
have budget midfielders to make
Oh
that
yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah.
I hadn't think about this going from Palmer to Haaland before this call, but now my brain is clicking. Let's
No, I
see.
mean, if especially if he's out long term, we don't know that. But if
And
they come back,
not just his injury, like Palmer generally also is playing a deeper role, and
Mhm.
people were generally sort of frustrated from him, anyways, even before the injury. So let's see, let's think about that in the upcoming section. One more stat I was looking at was top 10 defenders by expected points, and why I wanted to look at this was I wanted to check what impact does having DEFCON have on overall point potential of a defender, right? So if you look at the top 10 players, out of them, four of them have DC, but they're only like 4 points. I think the bread and butter for defender, again, right now at least, it's still goals and assists,
yeah,
goal involvements, and clean sheets. That's basically the very, very high level analysis here. Apart from Lacra, like nobody really, I mean, that's just my analysis that I think DC is important to increase the floor of your defender, but for if you want like a high ceiling defender, it's still G goals and assist becomes your bread and butter. How do
it,
you see this? Am I looking at right or maybe? Yeah, what do you think?
No, great point. Because DC is also, you have to understand, it's a limit of two, right? You're not going to get beyond 2 points. So great point that I think it only increases your floor. Your ceiling will always be assists, clean sheets, and like any other forms of bonus points that you get. Like bonus is also three, so
Yeah.
in that case, that's the only way to increase.
Also, most of these are fullbacks,
Yeah,
defenders
yeah.
without DC who are on the tops. So, anyways,
I mean, just one call out there, right? Just on the previous slide, like Gabriel and Saliba, no one had predicted them to. I mean, not no one, but like you will have. I know Arsenal's games are tougher, but if they do keep clean sheets, I mean, they haven't still gotten bonuses. So that was
yeah,
one observation which people
yeah,
trying to think of them can have.
fair point. All right, let's move on to the fixture ticker. Looking at a 6 week horizon, Aston Villa come out on top with Crystal Palace, Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley, out of which three of the games are at home. So I think that makes them on top of the fixture ticker. Now, obviously, the caveat is the form has not been good from an attacking point of view, especially. So that's that. One thing before we even start moving forward, before game week 4 and after game week 3, we have an international break. So we will not have Premier League football for about 2 weeks, in which
That's correct. Yeah.
um, a lot can happen in an international break. So a lot of injuries can happen. A lot of players come back late from international games, so they generally there is an opportunity. There is a chance where in game week 4, a lot of players do have less minutes as expected, and injuries are pretty common. And not just that, players who are injured right now, such as Saka or Palmer, they might be back after game week after the international break. Their injuries might be fine. They would get a rest. They might be back. Basically, is the point. So yeah, Aston Villa, Wolves, Spurs, and Leeds come out on top, and Arsenal is bottom of the fixture ticker. Um, reason being, they play Liverpool, Forest, City, and Newcastle, four of the best defenses in the league. Um, so yeah, what else do you see here, Puneet?
I would just like to point out Spurs because they've had good start to the year or the season, and they're third on the sticker. So if you have still yet to buy like a Spurs defender like a Porro or even Van de Ven for 4.5 is very good. I feel. I think it's a good point to enter. Like you haven't lost, although they have kept two clean sheets. But yeah, still a good point to enter at this stage. And Arsenal, right? I was just reading it very minutely, and I think Forest and West Ham at home are still clean sheets. But yeah, like if their defenders are not getting and you don't know who starts, like last time it was Timber, before that was Ben White, then Calafiori who you showed that scored the goal, and then it could be Lewis Miles Kelly. So between the four, you're not sure and you don't want to. And obviously, no point having their defender right now.
Yeah,
That's how I
if
would.
you if you hit Arsenal fullback in terms of like minutes, um, very high potential. But again, uh,
Yeah,
it's a lot of guessing game, especially with UCL coming back. We never know. Arteta also doesn't share anything in press conferences.
yeah.
All right. Some of the Rob T numbers. I'll highlight some of the obvious things here. So Manchester United having the most amount of expected goals as they play Burnley at home. They're expected to score more than 2 goals, while Chelsea, Tottenham, and City are also close to 2 goals in the next game. Clean sheet wise, again, United has the highest clean sheet odds, 48%. And then you have Forest and Chelsea. Apart from that, I wouldn't bank on any clean sheet, to be honest. All of them are less than 30. Villa still has 35%. We never know about this game, to be honest. Anyway, so from Manchester United, some of the key assets, Puneet, who would you be looking at if people don't have them or if they have them?
If you are making a defensive transfer, then it will be Dogu. And if you are looking for someone to replace Worth for that matter, I think two players who are, and Worth is on the chopping block for a lot of people. It can be Mbuemo, and I know there's Cunha's picture here, but I do feel Mbuemo is more closer to goal.
Hmm.
And he has corner kicks as well. So you have two outlets. So that those
Corner
two.
kicks was a good observation. Last game I watched them, and Dorgu is a good shout. He hasn't. I have Dorgu. He hasn't provided me any points, but the positions he's taking, I am hopeful he does well. Even the Fulham game, he had. Obviously, you guys conceded in the last 10 minutes, but he would have had a clean sheet if not.
Yeah, yeah. So from those, definitely those two. Chelsea is an interesting one, right? Because they had Pedro Neto, so Joao Pedro and Pedro Neto. I mean, Joao Pedro is like a steal currently at 7.5. If
Yeah,
you
and
don't have him,
he also played with Delap together, so
yeah, even then, yeah, exactly.
so
Good point.
that means his X minutes did shoot up in my head at least.
Good
Because
point. Yeah.
they both can play together. So if you don't have JP, I think it's a no-brainer to be honest. They've had the highest XG in the last two games as well, and yeah, I think it's a no-brainer at 6.5 or 6.6 now.
Seven. Yeah, yeah.
Anything else to shout out here?
No, I think City have a tough away game. Liverpool, Arsenal, you won't bank right now because it could be a 1-1, it could be a 2-2.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, I think barring Chelsea, I mean Fulham weren't that great. So I mean they were good, but they were not that great. Plus it's an away game. I know it's a London derby, but if they might concede, but Chelsea might just outscore them, is what how I see that game going.
Yeah,
So it's still a good
agreed.
time to attack. But other than that, I think it's only United who you can think about buying a player, or
Okay.
Wood for that matter. If you think of a striker,
I think Wood. Okay, let's talk about Wood honestly. I'll go back to the fixture ticket, and if you look at Forest's fixtures, um, they have West Ham at home, good attacking fixture. Arsenal away, not good, not great. And then they have Burnley, Sunderland. So in the next four, three are really nice.
correct
Newcastle
away.
have conceded. I mean, it's away. It's a difficult fixture, but yeah, it is a difficult fixture. Never mind. So short term wise, looking not a bad run of fixtures in my opinion for Wood, and he's proven to be good regardless of how the fixture is. So he is on my short list players to watch personally because I'm looking to replace Solanke in my team.
Yeah, and they're fifth on Ticker, man. That's actually good to go back to Ticker for that, and that's really yeah. We can discuss this more here.
All right. Some of the teams and players to target, we briefly touched upon that in the last slide, but let's go over some of the fixtures we think are important from an FPL point of view. You wanna walk us through the list, Puneet?
Yep. So straight away, right? Newcastle leads away. Leeds have not looked that defensively tight. I mean, they did. They do look attacking wise that they can score a goal or two. It's an away game. Newcastle have options, and they could have a striker by that time as well. So because this is the last week of your transfer window. But yes, Ilanga's look good. Bruno Guimaraes as well has. I know he plays deep, but he is going to rack up bonuses. I think he got a bonus yesterday as well, if I'm not wrong. Let me just go back and check. But yeah, those players I would recommend. We've already spoken about Bumo, Konya, and Dorgu enough, so definitely someone to target. If especially Dorgu is at 4.5, so you can keep him, and Arslan like he has him, so it won't trouble your team too much. Make funds if you want. Wood and Morgan gives right. So like we saw just now, right? I think for Wood, because he's his if Nuno Espirito stays, which is because it's the last game, or like our transfer windows there, and they buy up like a couple of or the other player, Wood continues to take penalties, and their fixture ticker is good in the next six. If you're looking for a substitute for a Strand Larson, second striker that you want to remove, make funds for Watkins, Wood automatically becomes like a very very strong candidate for you. So, and for Spurs and Bournemouth, I think Porro and I definitely recommend going double Spurs defense because between Johnson, Kudus, and Richa, I can only trust. And I know you had Solanke as one of your thoughts that you started with, but these three players you don't necessarily know how many minutes they are going to get. So, but with Aporo, you know he's going to play 90, and that's what we observed in our earlier slides as well. That you want to back a lot of 90 players at this stage. Oh, I cannot hear you.
Oh, you can you see this table? Yeah.
Yes, now we can.
Okay. So I was looking at Spurs players top sorted by expected points, and so Johnson, Richarlison, and Van de Ven all have in the last 2 weeks approximately the same expected points, which makes me say you can pick either. And in terms of minutes as well, more or less similar. Obviously, Van de Ven is completely nailed. So as a defender, I think,
Yeah,
as you said, what a steal at 4.5, considering the way they set up. He has not gotten defensive contribution points yet, but that's one to look out for. Kudus is a bit lower, but not too far away. But I think like Johnson and Richarlison are the clear standouts for me personally. And we have a new guest. Ahsan has joined the call as well. Welcome, Ahsan. We were just talking about Spurs players. So Johnson and Richarlison, in terms of expected points, come out on top, Van de Ven third, and then Kudus. So as Puneet said, doubling up on Spurs defense might not be the worst idea. And if you're looking for attackers, Kudus is 6.6. Again, a steal. Richarlison 6.7, a steal in my opinion. Johnson is a bit more expensive, so if you want to go up and if you have a midfield spot, um, I would just go Kudus to be very honest. But yeah, moving on to let's see what we have next. Okay, yeah, some of the burning questions. Should we panic or panic and sell them or not? So number one, I think one of the most owned players in this list is Cole Palmer. Two screenshots here on the right, you see Cole Palmer had a scan today and results are positive. Apparently, he has been training alone, not with the team. So so that's one data point. And then he also shared this on his Insta. He was attending a carnival, so I don't know what to take away from this, but in my personal opinion, we have game week 3. So there's one game week, then you have an international break, and then you have game week 4. So that's almost 3 weeks before game week four's match. So in terms of minutes, I think he might be back by game week 4. But considering he's 10.5, SN, I'll pose this question to you. Considering Palmer is 10.5 and he might miss the next game, and then there's an international break, and the fact that we were discussing the best player right now in game in terms of expected points per 90 and per million as well is still Erling Haaland. Should we sell Palmer and do something else with that money? Because there are a lot of options in the market.
I think Palmer is an easy sell because uh, Palmer was needed for that West Ham game. You saw how shambolic West Ham was in terms of their defense, and he wasn't there for that game. He's not going to be against Fulham at home, and even if he's back after the international break, his positioning, if you remember, Arsalan, we spoke about he was playing more as a left-sided 10 as opposed to a right-sided 10. So for 10.5 million, that's just too many ifs and buts. So I think given the form, given the likelihood of your budget picks becoming more popular, you spoke about Son, you spoke about Kudus, there's Semenyo. You can even maybe consider triple up on Liverpool. You can upgrade your third striker spot of Gio to maybe Ekitike because Liverpool, even though they are poor defensively, they are doing very well offensively. So I think he's a sell now, and I will most likely sell him because most of the bench options are not decent enough to cover for Palmer. We were lucky enough that I got Anderson off Palmer for this gaming, and Anderson had two def one points, so that gave me 4 points. But can't expect that to happen every week. So I think in terms of priority of panicking slash selling, you written it correctly in this order. Palmer, Saka, both are sells, easy sells, because for 10.5 million, you need your assets to be playing regularly. Words is a wait and watch. I think Liverpool generally haven't been very poor in terms of offensively clicking together as a team because this was always given with Liverpool that their goals will be shared. Yesterday there were three goals, and Salah again left it very late to have an attacking return. Similarly, in his game against Bournemouth, so Words is not a is probably a don't sell, don't buy kind of asset right now. And similarly, Aston Villa assets, I understand Watkins at 9 million. When you have Haaland at 14, you can easily like go Palmer to Anderson or maybe a 6.5 and go from Watkins to Haaland. But I think with the fixtures they have turning up and the amount of people selling Villa assets, I think they are likely to be differential. And even early in this, in your FPL game week season, I think they aren't a priority sell in my opinion. I have Watkins, I have Rogers, I have Konsa. So Konsa, I'm not worried about, even though he mixed one game. But I think Rogers and Villa and Watkins are an easy hold because I think we would have more fires to put out. And most importantly, there is an international break. You need your free transfers for any fixtures, for any players that might end up injured, because you have all those players that play for the national teams regularly also and their clubs. So I think if you can save your transfers, you should. But I think one would be needed to take out either of Palmer or Saka.
I think that's a fair point, very good point. That you need sound transfers for unexpected injuries that will happen
Yeah.
after the international break. So that's a fair point. On Aston Villa assets, a very last point I'll make is we've repeated it thrice, I think, but in the last two game weeks they bottom three in XG created. So that's one reason I think why people have less faith in Aston Villa attacking assets, but the fixtures are good. So if you're one of those who believe in fixtures over form, um, go for like I think they're a hold as well. Or if you think that fixtures breed form, yeah, you should hold them.
Yeah, sounds good.
FPL Eagles Eye are differential picks for game week 3. Please and don't mind the typo. So Puneet, how about you go first?
Yeah, I think this is based on the fixtures. Before I do that, just remember, guys, Ehsan is a Chelsea fan. So if he's talking about if he's thinking of selling Palmer, I mean that's like a real question mark. And Arslan is a City fan, and if the numbers for Haaland are showing up that good, and he's backing him, that I mean, I typically, in my experience, have always thought of asking fans first as to how much they see, especially someone who watches football as much as we do. So yeah, two really important call outs on Palmer being sold and if Haaland is a good pick. For Eagles, my two options are Bumo and Wood, and primarily because Bumo is playing Burnley at home and Wood, I think we've already discussed, is a good hold for at least the next 6 game weeks. And he has a good home fixture as well. And home fixtures, he's been pretty good and is on pens. So those two directly Wood, even in the long term, is a good buy.
Agreed. SN.
While you continue, I will like to drop, please, and all the best, guys.
Thank you for joining, Puneet.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay, so I've chosen Osula. He's basically a forward for Newcastle and he's listed as 5.5. Given the fact that Gordon was playing as a false nine and he's out for 3 games because of a red card for violent conduct, and I doubt Newcastle will appeal. So he is out. Isak is out. Osula is only 5.5 million, so you can expect him to start. I think Newcastle play Leeds away and then Wolves at home. So in for like a short-term punt, for your third forward spot, maybe you can upgrade Gio to Osula. So he'll be an ultra differential for sure. And similarly, I've written Enzo here. In the last game, Enzo, I think, had a goal and assist when Chelsea won 5-1 against West Ham. Given the fact that Palmer is out, you can most likely see Joao Pedro as the number 10 again, Estevao on the right, Pedro Neto on the left, and Delap up front. So Enzo, again, always very involved. He's on set pieces also, and in Palmer's absence, might be that he takes a penalty, but I think most probably Joao Pedro will. But he is at 6.5. If you're looking to pivot from like a NDI or maybe someone else to a Chelsea asset, you can go for Enzo. So these are two of my picks that I think will do well.
Enzo, I think, is an excellent shout. In the last 2 weeks, he is the number one Chelsea asset in terms of expected points.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's just one stat right there for you. I have Semenyo and Richarlison. Needless to say,
Mm.
Tottenham has been amazing. I went for Solanke. I expected them to do good. I did not expect Solanke to be benched um,
Yeah,
properly. Thomas Frank has officially said Richarlison is my number one, like number nine, primary number nine. So I think Richarlison is nailed, and the work he does for the team, like the way he runs and presses, I don't think
yeah.
he's getting dropped. And as we saw the numbers as well, Richarlison, Johnson, and Kudus have very similar numbers. So whoever makes sense for you, go for that. Do you know who's the penalty taker in the team?
In the absence of Son,
Son is gone, obviously. Yeah.
yeah, I would have bet on Madison to take them, but given that Madison is out, I am pretty sure Richarlison will take them because I think Richarlison used to
Mm.
take it at Everton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm looking at Premier
Yeah,
League's website, and penalty takers are listed Solanke, Richarlison, and Till. And considering Solanke is out, I think Richarlison would have the
yeah,
bench too.
Richarlison. Yeah.
So
So yeah,
Richarlison
a
for
good.
me, and then Semenyo. I think Bournemouth have a very good run of fixtures. Semenyo is. Let me go back to that stat. Semenyo is number two in terms of top 10 players by expected points in the last two games after Haaland. I think yeah, if you were looking for a midfield spot, you want to downgrade Palmer, go for Semenyo would be my shout.
Yeah, easy
That
shout.
moving on to captaincy, we're about to finalize this video as well. So if you guys stuck till here, thank you for sticking, and would appreciate if you drop a like and subscribe the channel. Captaincy, really quick. I'll drop some stats and ask for your picks, Essen. So as you can see, projected goal wise, United, Chelsea, Tottenham, City, top four. No, the top four teams on top four, basically, not no shockers here. Arsenal play Liverpool, so they are a bit lower, which makes Salah a question mark for a
Yeah,
lot of
not
people.
an obvious choice.
Yeah, and then on the right, you see projected points by Fantasy Football Hub. They do predict Salah to be the highest scorer next week as well, with a predicted score of 7.4. And then you have Haaland, Bruno, Cunha, Watkins, and Mbumo. Who are your captain picks?
Acha, I'm surprised Chris Wood is not. Chris Wood and Joao Pedro are two picks that you can back them to do well. Chris Wood is playing West Ham United at home. He's their penalty taker. He's their focal point of attack. Uh, I'm sure those who have him can go for captaincy. Shout out for Chris Wood just because of the fact that Salah doesn't have an easy fixture on paper. And similarly, Joao Pedro also. I know he hauled in the last game, and a mega haul back to back is very rare in FPL. But the fact
Mm.
that he might be on pens, the fact that he's playing number 10, he has 1 week's rest. So these two options are very good, and I think are going under the radar, both in terms of stats and the picks and the market odds mentioned. So I think if I have Joao Pedro, I don't have Chris Wood. So I might go towards Joao Pedro because I have Salah. And if I remove Palmer for maybe uh, Johnson, if I do, I might consider that. But most probably it might be on Joao Pedro only.
I am undecided, but
Yeah,
Chelsea are playing Fulham at home. Fulham
yeah,
right now are bottom five in terms of XG conceded, so that they do look like a nice fixture to target. With
yeah. And
the
it's
fact
it's a
that they're
derby.
also
It's
in,
at the bridge. And you know
it's a
that last season
derby.
2-1 victory that got Chelsea the Champions League spot. Pedro had a very late winner, so that feistiness is still there. I think so. I
Yeah,
think it's going to be a good match. Yeah,
and Chelsea have also created the highest amount of XG in the last two game weeks, so the assets do look appealing. So I would say Salah, JP, and Wood, as you mentioned, are top contenders. And if you have
yeah,
United attackers, if you have like Cunha or
yeah. If
Mbumo,
you have them, yeah,
they're also doable, especially Mbumo, as Puneet mentioned, is also on set pieces, so more routes to points. Bruno, I own him. I don't think he's a captaincy shout, but he could do well. Again, in the last game, if he hit the penalty, he would have been a 9-10 pointer easily with
yeah,
his
yeah.
two
Easily,
defcon as well.
he had two DefCon, 2 points played. That's four. A goal, that's nine, and maybe minimum one bonus would have got him a
Bonus,
10 point.
yeah.
So yeah, so 10 to 12 easily. So again, if you have him, Arsalan, you can go for him because even if he's playing deep, he is still on penalties. United were very good against Fulham. You saw the number of chances Cunha had. I think he hit the
Mm,
post, and he had a few good saves done from his shot. So if you
yeah,
have Cunha, if you have Mbeumo from the start, and you're not getting them in just for this gaming, all three are very easy, very good captaincy shouts against Burnley at home.
agreed. And it also now, for me personally, depends on the bus teams as well. So let's just move on to that. It's why I say that is based on the conversation we had today. I am sort of inclined towards maybe doing Palmer to Haaland. Uh, but if I do that, Haaland is captainable as well, obviously. So I would captain him if I go in that route. If not, I'll start off with my bus team. So I have Sanchez in goal against Fulham at home. Dorgu, I'm happy to have Burnley at home.
Yeah.
Poro, Bournemouth at
Okay.
home, again happy to have. So basically, four of my defenders have a home game. So happy for that. Anderson, I, I, I don't know. Maybe I'll play him. I probably won't play him considering if I make a forward transfer, I'll swap Anderson on the bench, and then my forward would play instead. In the midfield, I have Salah, Arsenal at home, then Bruno, Burnley at home. I'm happy to own Sar with the 8 pointer last game week. So happy with that. And then I have Rogers, Crystal Palace at home, Jao Pedro at home as well. So a lot of home fixtures I see. So I have two free transfers. The transfers I'm thinking of doing is I want to replace Solanke with an attacker, and the attackers I'm contemplating are Mateta, Ekitike, Richarlison, and Wood. I haven't finalized that. When I do finalize it, I will post the team on our Twitter channel, which is FPL Without
Yeah.
Borders. So do look out for that. And if I decide to sell Palmer, I might upgrade Solanke to a Haaland, but we'll see. I haven't finalized that. I'll create a couple of draft and finalize that. Essen, any suggestions for my team?
I think getting Haaland would be tricky if you are removing Solanke because you'll probably maximum get 4 or 5 million from Palmer, and Solanke is around the 7.5 million mark. You would need at least 2.5 million more. So it won't be a straight two free transfers from Palmer to Haaland. So I would suggest you can honestly just do a sideways transfer of Solanke to Richarlison.
Hmm.
That's not the worst thing to do because I'm sure you're priced out of Mateta, Wood, and Ekitike. All have risen in price. Wood is I think 7.7. So you can
Yeah, for all
only
of them, I'll have
downgrade.
to do two transfers basically. If I
Yeah,
go,
so not worth it. You
yeah,
can just do Solanke to Richarlison. You have your penalty taker. You have the main man. You have the player playing, very well. Spurs are the most informed team. They have decent fixtures. So I think Solanke to Richarlison should be an easy transfer and save the other one.
makes sense. All right, your team.
Yeah, so I'll just have the Palmer transfer to worry about. I did point out a few options. Getting some Spurs cover from their attack. I feel I've missed out on, the Spurs attack in the last two game weeks. So maybe having either Kudus or Johnson. And if not, then I think Newcastle's fixtures are also very, very decent. They play Leeds at away, they play Wolves at home, and then a few other fixtures. So I might get a Langa. Um Elanga was really good against Newcastle yesterday, against Liverpool, sorry, yesterday, and it'll allow me to have some, room to buy back Palmer if I can, rather than spreading funds into multiple players and then having to use more free transfers. So I'll probably just remove Palmer and get either one of these.
All right, that also makes sense. The only issue with Newcastle for me is till they sign a striker, till we know what's happening. I'm just player position plays which position is just a question mark for me. Ilanga is also 7 million, so I think there are better options for 7 million.
Mm,
But Kurus and Johnson, I think, are great shouts, and they also free up budget for so much more.
yeah,
Um,
agreed.
cool. Anyways, that is all for today, guys. Thank you
Yeah,
for watching, and if you've made it till here, don't forget to like and subscribe and join us every week for more FPL chats. And yeah, good luck in game week 3.
good luck, guys.